Kenyan football sank to an all-time low yesterday on the final day, which under normal circumstances, such a day should be a nerve-wracking affair for football enthusiasts following bated breath to know the destination of the KPL trophy as Tusker and Kakamega Homeboys, both in chase at the top with equal points, but separated by goal difference, tussled for the honours. But that was not to be. It was an anti-climax of sorts as Kariobangi Sharks, lined up to face Homeboys at the Mumias Sports Complex, failed to show up, handing the former a walkover. Ladies and gentlemen, that is where the problem lies. It doesn't matter who took the gong. What should concern us all is the fact that a title-challenging team is handed a walkover on title D-Day. This, in our view, should make our leaders and even the sports ministry cringe in utter shame. Be that as it may, questions abound. Who will rescue our football from total collapse? What's the way out of the conundrum? The show begins right now. My name is Isaac Swiller. And now, to the question of the day, we ask you, what's the way out? What's the way forward for Kenyan football? What's the way forward for Kenyan football? Talk to us, tweet us at Season TV Kenya, at Isaac Swiller. We are going to sample some of your feedback at the tail end of this program. Gentlemen, Fred Arocho, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Swiller. I'm glad once again to be on the show.
Okay, Steve Chitera.
Thank you so much, and that was a very, very in-depth intro. We really need to think deeper and try understand what is ailing our football and what is the way out.
The way out, definitely. We'll be joined later on by Mukami Wambora, who is in Mauritius at the just-ended African Championship, who will give us more insight. But Arocho, first things first, the state of Kenyan football, very embarrassing, so to speak, as we saw yesterday. Begin from there.
Well, I think, as you ably put it earlier in the intro, it is a sad moment for Kenyan soccer. A sad moment because look at the fact that this was the D-Day. Kakamega Homeboys playing Kariobangi Sharks could have given perhaps this league a new twist towards the end, the few seconds that the game was still on. Just look at a good example. The last match when Aston Villa was playing the decider match, just imagine that Aston Villa could not have turned up for that match. For me, it shows me that we are so much selfish as leaders in this country. Why am I saying we are selfish? Kariobangi Sharks is not just any other team. It's a team that perhaps can be associated with the powers that be in Kenyan football. If you cannot be led, then you have no reason to believe that you can lead. Kariobangi Sharks should have gone for that match. And a league that has more than 2 walkovers is no league. And as I told Shitera last week, that there are forces that are trying to make sure that the league crumples. And many were trying to disagree with me, but it was quite evident. There is no way whatsoever Kariobangi Sharks should have avoided that match, because that match could have given this league that twist that we needed. I was at the Tusker against Posta Ranger match.
Where the champions were crowned.
Yes. The first half they were still goalless. This was giving you an indicator that if in any case the match in Mumias could have been on, yes, that tension, that anxiety could have been there and could have given the league, as I've said, another angle. Once again, it's a shame, and I think Kariobangi Sharks should be ashamed of themselves. Talanta FC should be ashamed of themselves. Look at the fact that Talanta did not play their match. The next match against Gor Mahia, they played. It is totally unfair for these teams that are playing all the matches. Totally
unfair, Shitera. There's no excitement. Some say this has been an underwhelming season, and rightfully so, as Arocho put it. Walkovers in the top division, not once, not twice, not thrice. We saw Mathare going under after giving 3 walkovers. What's your thought, and where do we put the blame?
I think the blame rests squarely with the transition committee, which transformed from the caretaker committee because they were mandated to take care of the football in Kenya. But unfortunately, I can clearly say that these are the indications that they have clearly failed to at least show us that they are better off than the disbanded FKF, because up until when the caretaker committee was appointed, and as far as we were talking about misappropriation, allegedly, I think they should have shown us that they can do it better. We had hope because we had hit a dead end in terms of football, but it seems we are unable to get ourselves from the situation that we were put in by the previous administrations. We can't see them physically. They are nowhere to be seen, nowhere to communicate. So even the questions that we are raising to people who are not giving direction, so to say, because since they were moved into that transition stage, we have not heard from them. What are the reasons they are giving for such things to happen? And as much as, yes, we agree, there are some forces trying to pull down the Premier League as it is. Remember, the Premier League under the Kenya Premier League Limited, I think, was well managed, I could say. But since it moved to the Federation, that's when we started seeing all these problems. And I thought that the caretaker committee will hand over the management of the KPL back to Kenya Premier League Limited. At least this is a unit that was used to running the Premier League, and they had that experience. But unfortunately, they took it over, and these are the results. A very big shame in the Kenyan football, in a region that we really produce talent, we really have fans, and it's a sad moment, so to speak, that a champion will be decided on a final day by walkovers.
Rocho, the shame of KPL, and still staying on that, where do you think this leaves Homeboys, the players, the coach, the management? Of course, this was close to call until the last minute, tying on points on 60. Then you go on the pitch and you're told Team B is not showing up for this game. What do you think is going through their mind, and where does it leave Homeboys? This was their only chance probably to win their first league title. Remember, at one point, there were 11 points clear at the top.
Well, I'd like to look at your question with two kind of approach.
Dimensions, yeah.
Yes, the first approach is, I don't think that Kakamega Homeboys should blame anyone for their predicament. They should blame themselves. The blame squarely lies on them. They were leading. They lost a lot of points. They dropped a lot of points towards the end. And if there's anybody to blame, then basically it is Homeboys. But on the flip side, I think it was an anti-climax for them. Because look at the fact that even the match that they were to play in Nairobi against Talanta was not played. So it demoralizes these players. And I was so happy that in some time now, we were going to have a league champion outside Nairobi. This also gives an encouragement to the young lads across the country to be motivated to play even more. But I'd like also, to give kudos to Tusker. There's one thing about Tusker that it will be quite unfortunate for me to leave this studio without saying. Tusker is so consistent. Look at the fact that Tusker lost 8 players when they dropped 8 players when we started this season. Tusker has been so consistent, and they kept their shape. They kept their backbone. That is Patrick Matasi in goal, Charles Momanyi and Ocharum in that defense, Humphrey Cheng Mieno in that midfield. He's been quite consistent, and of course,
and these are leaders and very experienced players.
Yes, yes.
Played outside the country and back on the local.
They kept that backbone. You can can blame Matano for a lot of things, but the fact that he kept his backbone. Look at Macharia. He comes in mostly in the second half, but when he comes in, he refreshes that team. He even scored the second goal yesterday. But another thing I also want to leave this point without mentioning is that Matano yesterday said that he was resigning. It was so an anti-climax when journalists went to get his response immediately after the match ended. He talked about resigning, and he talked about being frustrated. I think the KPL fraternity, the management, should look into that, because how do you celebrate by threatening to resign
on the final day?
Yes, there's something very wrong.
Coronation moment.
Yes, in fact, it was the moment they were being coronated.
Yes.
And he was talking to the press, saying that he's so frustrated. I think that is what they need to look at. But all in all, the league has ended, and I'm so happy that it has come to an end. It's time for us to converse. I think I've been saying it.
Where's the old trophy?
Well, let's not talk about the trophy. I think it went with the other regime. But I think this is time for us to converse. Let's respect each other. Everybody in this space, in this fraternity, needs to be respected. I think the government needs to sit down with the stakeholders, journalists, clubs, coaches, referees. Let's talk to each other, not at each other.
Okay, maybe we'll be having the graphics shortly just to see how the season ended. But of course, Tusker being crowned best of the best on 63 points. Homeboys also on 63 points, albeit on goal difference. But we are going to have that shortly. But still staying on the same, let's take a look at how KCB played their final game of the season, if we can have that clip.
Season haijaweza kutufurahisha kwa sababu sisi last season tulikuwa tunang'ania kushinda ligi. So hii mwaka tulikuwa na matumaini mengi sana ya kuweza kuona kwamba tunaweza shinda ligi. So haiwezi tufurahisha kwa sababu ya kwamba malengo zetu ambazo tulikuwa tumeweza kupanga hatujaweza kuyatimiza.
Hii ndio worst season tumekuwa nayo. Hata I think NSL hatukuwa perform vile tumeperform. It's been a worst season. But again tunashukuru Mungu imeisha. Our fear was being relegated, but we are not relegated. We are still in the league.
Well, that's KCB Arocho, your team, blowing hot and cold throughout the season. But Shitera, the only beautiful thing about KCB is that they produced the top scorer. That's Derek Odanga, scoring 2 goals yesterday, basically, to beat Clifton Miheso to that title of the Golden Boot. But basically, it's another underwhelming campaign for Arocho. Remember, he was so optimistic at the beginning of the season. But as usual, anyway, failing to punch equal to their weight.
I think even when you're having a competitive league, it gives you the energy to try and get something out of it. But look at the Kenyan Premier League this season. It was very uncompetitive. Teams giving out walkovers left, right, center. Remember, Mathare United was relegated way before even we could get to know who will win the league. At the moment, people are celebrating, oh, we are not relegated. At least the season has ended. The pressure, you see, they are enjoying the season has ended. Look at the fans in the stadium. I think school games are more attractive than the Kenyan Premier League. And we keep on saying something has to be done, but the people who have to do the things that we are saying are silent. I don't think that the football we are having now will want to impress any team even to get promoted into the Kenyan Premier League. And
even any shirt sponsor. So
even the sponsors have left because I think they are not getting value for their money. Even as Arocho blames sponsors here and there, you can clearly see that they might be having another investment somewhere else. They are not interested in football because the returns in football activities are very minimal. And I think that's why Matano is complaining, is not getting the right attention that he used to get, because football is not attractive anymore. They are facing somewhere else. And I think even as we speak, we also need to look at the validity of this Kenya Premier League. Is it valid? That's another question that we really need to ask. It's a very critical question. You might end up saying that indeed we do not have a league. It was just a competition to keep us busy as we await on how we resolve the impasse between the Ministry of Sports and FIFA.
Okay. Rocho, Mathare United, a team that gave rise to so many football talents in this country. Literally, you can't look at Kenya's football scene without finding the footprints of Mathare, be it at the national team, club level, name it. But this is a team that has gone under after giving 3 walkovers. Is this the final death of Mathare? Should we write their epitaph? Or can the giant resuscitate from the slums?
The Mathare I know, I'm sure they'll go to court. It's one of the teams that is going to make sure that this league, they'll try and push that this league should be nullified. I know them so well. I know Bob Munro so well. He's quite, he goes through a lot of details. And I'm sure that's one of the reasons why they kept off earlier. But I'd like to give kudos to Mathare, a team that when you realize that you cannot play, you'd rather just stay aside. That's why I have a problem with the likes of Talanta, the likes of Kariobangi Sharks. If you knew that this league was not valid, why did you start playing the league? The moment the federation was kicked out, you could have just said that I cannot participate in a league that is not valid. Yes. Yeah. But so why do you start the journey? Then when the league has stretched to its maximum, when we really need that concentration, that competition, you chicken out. So that's the difference between Mathare and these other teams that gave walkover towards the end.
You could say they stuck to their guns, but on the flip side, one would argue you registered for this league knowing that you must have the financial safeguards to run through the campaign, and whatever you're going to get from corporate or sponsorship is just augmenting what you've already set aside to see you through this campaign. Because at the end of the day, Mathare is a private entity. Did Bob Munro fail to plan for the long term and maybe is paying the price for this?
I think you're right, because Mathare is one of the teams that, since they came into the league in the late 90s, it's a team that is the one single team that has had a lot of sponsors. Mathare had partners outside the country when they came into the league. Mathare is a team that has been sponsored with virtually each and every segment of the industry. They've been sponsored by a banking institution, an insurance institution, a betting institution. So I think as much as we blame the sponsors, Mathare also needs to look into themselves and see where they went wrong, because all these other sponsors cannot be wrong, and then you're right. But once again, I'm going to say, if there's a team that is going to challenge the validity of this league, I'm seeing Mathare challenging it.
Heading to the tribunal.
And that's why I have a problem once again with these teams that did not go for Viga, did not turn out against Wazito. Why should you start a journey that you know very well you're not going to finish it to see the conclusion? Because soccer, and I'll differ with Shitera a bit, soccer is not just about winning. That's where we lose the plot of soccer and sports in general. It's not just about winning. At times, sports is just an avenue of us interacting, networking, and getting to know each other. Because out of the 20 teams or 18 teams that are participating in any particular league, it's only one winner that qualifies to represent the country. What about the rest? So for me, it's not necessarily about winning. And when you get into soccer, don't just look at the winning. When somebody says that this league, the team that is going to win might not participate in the continental assignment. Soccer or sports in general is not just about winning. It's about building networks. It's about bringing us together and bridging that gap that at times is there in the society.
Shitera, before we go to the shooting championship, I can see our guest is already in. Can you touch a little bit on Vihiga Bullets? This is a team we hailed the county rather, so many teams in the top division, but these teams are struggling through and through, save for Vihiga Queens who are crowned the Women Premier League champions. But look at how Bullets have struggled. They've been relegated. So we are seeing teams from Vihiga joining the top tier, but they can't really sustain the momentum there.
I think I would say that Vihiga were promoted at a very difficult time in the history of Kenyan football. A time when we were facing challenges imposed to us by the FIFA. And I would say it's unfortunate to them because all these challenges that Arocho is talking about, sponsorships, pulling out. I know Vihiga County as a county that has produced talent. Look at the Kenyan ladies, the Vihiga Queens. Look at Vihiga United before, then Vihiga Bullets. And these, I think, are works of the former governor, Karanga. I think he loves football, but unfortunately, the environment is not conducive for
the current environment.
The current environment is not good for football to thrive. Look at Bob Munro. He has really mentored young talent from the slums, people who could not hope that they could one day fly out. And I remember the connection between Norway and Madare. Yeah. I played in the Maisa tournament.
So I played. That's why.
Were it not for the academics, I would be somewhere in Norway.
Okay.
Courtesy of the.
Now, before we step to the next item.
And by the way, just on that again. He's talked of how a team or Bob Munro gave so much to Madare.
Yeah.
And at the end of it all, there are no results to show for it. But again, look at Wazito. Through Bob Badua, he came here and was punching literally on every visible and invisible enemy, saying he has got a vision, these are the best players, are going to build a stadium, we are going to have a state-of-the-art studio and all that. But look at Wazito. Right now, they are the bottom three teams actually at position 16.
Yes.
And basically going for a playoff. Yes. So probably Munro has paid the price. Badua has also realized that I can't really make something out of this.
Sustainable development. You bring a very good idea, but you have to sustain it. You have to look at the end result. Gentlemen, there's a team that I'd like to mention here. A team that has come into the league just this season, that is Police FC, and the semblance of order. I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate.
Semblance of order.
Semblance of order.
And a very difficult circumstance.
Yes. Kenya Police is a team that is currently enjoying a lot of sponsorship. Why do you think that has happened? It's because of the stability. The leadership at Kenya Police. You are seeing sponsors jostling to just get a piece of Kenya Police. And believe you me, Kenya Police is going to be a strong team next season. They won against Bandari yesterday. It's a formidable side from Bandari. But Police, currently, 10 of the Police FC players are training at Kiganjo. It shows you that they have an end plan. Because you cannot just have players kicking the ball. What is the end result? Once again, Police FC and the management, the chairman, the CEO, and the entire fraternity, semblance of order. Sponsors will just be coming and say, Arocho, just give me a piece of you. But when you are not organized, nobody wants to be near you.
But we really need organization from the top, because you can be organized. Na Waswahili wanasema samaki moja akioza. Wote wameoza. So
Police haijaoza. Oh.
No. I'm talking about the Kenyan football.
Oh, okay.
They are playing in the Kenyan Premier League. So
watch Kenya Police.
No, I will watch them, but so long as they are still in the Kenya Premier League,
I'll take it with a pinch of salt, because if we remove the police, the institution, from that team, is it going to stay put?
Yes.
It will crumble.
Yes, it will stay put.
For me, I'm looking at sustainability, putting in place structures, putting in place proper coaching system, so that if today the police, the institution, decided to separate from police football club, then we see this football club sustaining the run. That's what I'm looking at.
Can I respond to that?
Sure, sure.
The fact that sponsors are jostling to associate themselves
because of football,
with the team, they're associating with the team.
Yeah,
because look at the fact that they have a traveling sponsor.
I think it's because of something else.
No. It is the order that is in the team. Because we even have the army. I know what you're trying to allude to, that perhaps because it's the police. But we have an army team that perhaps nobody wants to associate with. Once again, I'm just saying this. And I know, as you say, that you are taking it with a pinch of salt. I knew you were going to say that. But guys, look at the fact that this team came into the season, into the league this season. It has about 3 partners. People who just want to put their money. The other day I was traveling to Mombasa by bus. I saw a bus just having Kenya Police players branded on the bus. You know, people associate with success, not disorder. And that's what is happening.
Of course, success has 1,000 fathers. Failure is an orphan. But on that note, let's shift gears and go to a not so popular sport, but which basically is trying to fight for its place in the Kenyan sports space, and this is shooting. And we are now joined on set by Shooting Federation Chairman, Bwana Muriuki, member. I hope I got that right. Correct. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Yeah. First things first, shooting as a sport, what's the status of this discipline in the country?
Shooting is growing tremendously, actually, as a sport. It's been here a long while. It wasn't quite as big, but now shooting has become one of the mainstream sports in Kenya, I would say. It's a huge Olympic sport, and we are hoping that eventually we're going to start winning medals in various categories. The shooting fraternity in Kenya is young because of course, we are not a very old country since independence. We are competing against countries that have been shooting for 100 years and more. But our development, the speed at which we are developing definitely outstrips many of the older powerhouses in shooting.
Okay, before we just continue, let's take a look at some of the footage we have from this sport.
Kizungu ni kidogo, sitaki kujua sana sana.
Range is clear. Time 2024.
We expect all African countries to come in, 106 countries from Africa to take part in this competition. But what we have seen from the registration is that we have countries from America, we have countries from Europe, we have countries from Asia too coming. So far, about 15 countries have actually shown interest to attend. The registration is still on and it is open. So the teams are still registering. We expect to host a number of shooters, over 200, but so far 150 are in. If we add our local shooters, it will go to 200.
Mr. Miruki, before we go into the thrust of that,
yes,
somebody would ask, this shooting sport or the federation, how do I register? How do I become a member? Do you guys have functional leagues? Because it's a sport not many people feel about it, not many associate with it.
Okay, to answer you directly, and thank you for the question. Yes, we have various leagues, not one league, because shooting has disciplines. We have, like what's going on now is the IPSC. Then we have air weapons. We have the Beasley rifle. So these leagues are running as we speak, and if you want to register in the league, we have our national headquarters at Langata, at the Kenya Regiment Rifle Club. So if you show up there, we assist you and you pick which particular discipline that you feel you're very comfortable with, and you can register there and immediately start doing your practice. If you're talented enough, of course, you'll rise to the top like every other sport.
The sport involves use of weapons.
Yes.
And somebody might ask, who walks in there and probably gets accepted? Rocho can just walk in there. Is there a mental assessment? What are the integrities?
Yes, of course. We will need to know what kind of a Kenyan you are and if you're of good standing. Rocho is a good man. We know him. I've been listening to him for a while. So we will not turn Rocho back. He has his credentials. Of course, we do a little bit of a background check, which is not only unique to shooting. I'm sure if you join any other club or any other sport, they would like to know who you are. You know, are you a Kenyan you know, good citizen of good standing. So once you're that way, we will allow you to participate in the sport. It's not like you come around, you know, hosting weapons from the Ukraine war that you're carrying. No. And a lot of them, you might be shooting an air gun, which is not a ballistic weapon. So it's not that's not a particularly big issue. Yeah.
How do you devolve this sport to the grassroots, and seeing that you've already lined up a major championship that's coming up in Samburu, and you've talked of over 100 countries participating? One would ask, why the choice of Samburu? And two, how do you popularize this sport?
Good. You have two questions, so I will answer them. First, about Samburu. The first reason why we've gone to Samburu is that Samburu holds one of the best ranges in Africa. The range there is probably the best in Africa in terms of outdoor shooting. Maybe Egypt has an Olympic range that can rival that, but otherwise we have it's a huge range. It's spectacular. The weather is fantastic, and of course Samburu is a very good tourist area. And you see, we want to devolve shooting because shooting is part of Kenya's development. Now we are going to Samburu. We've got sponsors who want to get involved in CSO, you know, the community service there. Some sponsors came there and said, look, we'd like to assist with water and such things. So it's really, really a positive image that we actually went to Samburu with so many foreigners coming. You know, they've got Shaba Lodge there, Losesia Lodge, and it's performed a function of also opening up that part of the economy for the world. And it's a really nice place. You know, with shooting, you want to be away from urban area, in a quiet place where the shooters can concentrate, sleep over, continue with their work, and without making noise for anybody. The place there is ideal. Yeah.
Arocho, your thoughts?
You talked of the Olympics.
Yes.
Probably how soon are we going to see this sport participating in the Olympics?
I think it's likely that in the next Olympics we will have a representative. Commonwealth Games, we've already been there many times as shooters and done well and won medals in Commonwealth right from 1972. We've been winning medals there. You probably, let me blame you, the media, because you've never taken an interest in sportsmen. No, you come to our office there, you see the history of shooting there right from the 50s.
Yeah, it's us to blame you.
Because, you talked of Ulinzi before.
Yes, it's us to blame you. Why am I saying so? You need also to invite us, because at times we even had issues with the motor racing, but they invited. You make sure that we are part and parcel of you guys. But my main concern is the licensing. When I come for shooting, should I be a licensed gun holder?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
We are a sporting organization. We are not...
So I can just come in as a rocho?
Come in as
then I pick a gun.
No, you don't pick.
You need to take me through that.
Yeah, take our view through that.
You don't pick. What will happen is that you will have an interest in the sport. Of course, you'll come identify yourself. We need to see your ID. And we will give you options. You may be started off with something like the air guns, which is not a ballistic weapon, like I said. You don't need to own one. The club has some weapons for those people who are serious. And as you keep coming, after enough visits, then you will decide for yourself, are you becoming serious enough to go and apply to the firearms board to be licensed? Or do you want to be shooting once in a while with the club weapons and maybe competing on a lower level? Like with everything else, just like with football, so I'm sure sometimes you play football over the weekend, but now you want to become a really serious player, you're going to invest in proper boots and everything and the equipment. So the spectrum is open for the level at which you want to participate in the sport.
Moving down to Mashinani, as Swila earlier alluded, how would you like to incorporate? Because the perception out here is that shooting is more or less elite sport.
Yeah.
So how do you intend to bring in the mashinani?
We already are. And like you say, that's why we are at Samburu. We are opening it up to, you know, more people, not just the Nairobi. And it's a misconception that shooting is elitist because we have a lot of armed forces personnel there. Armed forces are the least elite people in our community. They are our people. You know, they are our what you can say, our, you know, our proper citizens with their sleeves rolled up.
But people will think that ni watu ambao hawafikiki.
You are in your own cocoon, probably.
Yeah.
No, because as
if I know you are the best shooter in Kenya, surely at times I tend to
withdraw.
Yeah, to withdraw because you might.
Together, and I'm a shooter.
No, go your own set. But basically,
yes.
as you wrap this up, help us understand how much have you pumped in this championship, probably at federation level and maybe as a government, and you tie it probably with the challenges you faced so far, as you give us your final...
Like with all sport, I was here and we are discussing football and sponsorship. Sponsorship is, money is the driver of sport in all the sports. We've been fortunate. We've got a great sponsor like Chalby Industries, which is our homegrown industry. I'm sure you know about them, and if not, you need to find out more about them. They have really come through and sponsored us very well. And of course, the Federation has put in a lot of money. The whole event is definitely going to cost over 15 million shillings. We've been fortunate in getting some sponsors. We have some challenges. We are still hoping for some more sponsors to come through. And, you know, we also pay for some of the guys who are not able to afford the registration fee. So we've been pushing sponsors. We have quite a number. And we are grateful to them.
How is the government coming in?
The government helps us. You know, the Ministry of Sports, we are, you know, maybe the guest of honor may even be the CS for sport. So the government has always supported the shooting in a really big way, very, very big. We couldn't ask for much better.
Are you inviting us as the media? Because we need also to
be practical. We have always invited you. There is an open, in fact, the reason I'm here.
We need to be practical.
We have always invited the media. In fact, the media has been our stronghold. We have always invited the media. We even invited a team from Citizen to shoot as a team there. And you guys did not come. We sent a letter here. I know the letter was delivered.
Is
we
the
asked you for a team.
You can,
we asked you for a team, and we had sponsored your team. You are not going to pay.
Right now, of course, having engaged you, the next time you know where the letter should come. So there will be no excuses. Rather.
Okay, I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so, yeah.
Maybe your final thoughts, rallying call to Kenyans?
My rallying call to Kenyans is to support us. Kenya is spearheading shooting in Africa. The African countries are coming here to learn from us, actually, not really to compete with us. You know, we are quite at the top there, apart from South Africa. So I'm asking the Kenyans to come out, support us. Whoever can sponsor us, give us sponsorship. Shooting is a sport that does not have politics and controversy. We are very disciplined.
Problems.
No, we are very disciplined. We tend to agree on all our things. We have a very civil, non-violent kind of meeting at all times.
Where is violence?
Violence is in some federations. You know, I've been a chairman of sports from boxing to taekwondo to many things.
Wow.
So I'm aware about, you know, some hardships
politics
in sport.
Okay.
But that's not for today. That will be for another day.
Okay, Mr. Muriuki, thanks so much for taking time to come and break it down.
Welcome. I also appreciate being here, and thank you for inviting me.
So we'll be looking forward to that assignment in Samburu.
Okay, and I hope I'll see some of you there. Please come over. Yeah, we will host you.
Okay.
Yeah,
we will come.
Thank you.
Now let's shift gears a little bit, and the biggest sporting event of the weekend was, of course, right down there in Mauritius, where Team Kenya, as is the tradition, again, topped Africa in the medal standings. And, of course, our very own Mukami Wambora is there. But first, let's take a look how Team Kenya performed.
Entered the final day of the African Senior Athletics Championships, trailing South Africa by 1 gold medal. South Africa had 6 gold against Kenya's 5, but everything changed on the final day of competition. Kenya's opportunity for a medal was high in the women's 800 meters with 3 of the 8 finalists, Jarinta Mwasia, Brenda Chibet, and Naomi Korir. Mwasia achieved the ultimate goal, reigning supreme in a tight race, clocking 2 minutes, 2.80 seconds to edge Ethiopian Detsa Gebre and Prudence Sekgodiso.
Race ilikuwa mzuri, nilikuwa nimejipanga, but sikuwa najua kama nitapata gold, but nilikuwa nimejipanga juu nilipata ni watu wenye najua ni wengi, so sikutarajia kama nitapata gold, but nimepata, nashukuru Mungu sana.
Kenya's other gold medals on the final day were in the men's and women's 20 kilometers walk. Julius Yego's throw of 79.62 meters earned him gold, while Abel Kipsang nicked gold in the men's 1500 meters, clocking 3 minutes 36.5 seconds. It was during Kipsang's medal ceremony that the men's 5,000 meters final was taking place, but the national anthem failed to inspire Daniel Ebenyo to victory. Despite leading the race for most of the way, he was outpaced by Ethiopian Amare Tejgen, who crossed the finish line in 13 minutes 36.79 seconds. Ebenyo unhappy with the race and his slow time of 13 minutes 38.79 seconds.
The race was a bit slow, and I myself, a slow race, I don't have energy at the end. If the race was fast, at least we could be in good position. But so far so good. I thank God for second place. And I know God is just preparing me for more.
Female sprinter Maximilia Imali was not left out of the sprinting medal haul as she grabbed silver in the women's 200 meters.
We have been planning this for the last 2 months with my coach, and what we were expecting, it was a good time, even not for winning this medal, but when I ran and I see that I can make it to the podium, I was so happy to be in the podium today.
5 gold medals in one day, a massive achievement for Team Kenya. Well, there you have it. Kenya is top of the medal standings yet again at the 2022 Africa Senior Championships, managing 10 gold medals, 5 silver and 8 bronze. Mukami Wombora reporting from the Cote d'Or Stadium in rainy Mauritius for Citizen TV.
Hi everyone, I am here in Mauritius with the reigning African champion, the African 100 meters record holder, and the African champion for the 4x100 meters, the one and only Ferdinand Omanyala. Yep. Karibu sana. I feel like the titles will just keep coming. Next we'll be saying world record holder, we'll be saying fastest time.
Well, we're taking like all the medals, all the records, all the titles, so just watch the space.
So tell me, like, this is your first African championship. Like, how's the experience been just in general?
One thing about me is that when I go to an event, I don't look at how big or small the event is. I look at what the goals I've set are. Like, I was at the Olympic Games, and that was my first championship. So Africa is not as big as the Olympics, but I maintained my cool in the Olympics. So coming into Africa, I wanted this title. And being an African record holder without the African champion title, it's like the circle is not complete, right? Like half. So I came here for that, and we had it done. Yeah.
Simbine, you guys, your rivalry, your relationship, how does it work? Are you guys pushing each other to be better? Are you supportive of each other?
Our competition is, when we get into track, we don't talk to each other. When you're at the warm-up, we don't talk to each other. We don't even look at each other. We don't look even what the other guy is doing. But after the race, we're still friends. We still talk. We still chat. We still tell each other how you're feeling, how you're seeing this competition.
And the 200 meters, this is your first time attempting. What has been going through your mind, like entering? How was the experience?
I think my body just never fired because I had done like hit semis-finals of the 100 and then hit semis and finals of the 4x100, and you know the weather is not that good for the sprinters, so you know it's a bit cold, and I guess I was just fatigued. I mean, because of the push of the 4x1 and the 100 meters, because the 4x100 we were chasing the time and we got the national record. And then the 100 meters, as you saw, it was so tight, and you know you have to push the line. So it's something that took a lot from the body. So I guess I'll try the 200 meter later.
Yeah. What's the difference for people at home? They're like, okay, 100, obviously it's another 100 meters, but for you as an athlete, what's the difference?
200 meters is technical because you have to run the bend. It needs a technical a very good technical training for the 200 meters, of which we're working on. It's just that I never got the perfect timing this time, because I ran it at the national champs and I won. I'm the national champion for 200 meters. So yeah, all I can say is it's a sport that I'm trying. I'm new. I'm still getting into it, but 100 meters is my favorite.
And now looking ahead towards the Commonwealth Games, World Championships, what's sort of your goal? What's going through your mind? What's your plan?
I'm going into this as a world leader. I'm the fastest man in the world this year. So I'm going nothing less than a bronze medal. So my main target at the World Championships is to medal. And it will be something historic because there's no African who has ever medaled in the World Championship. So that's something that I'm going for. And I'm someone who loves to live history. So I hope I live history in Oregon. And I'm going to Oregon to beat the USA in their own home turf. I'm going to beat them in their own home ground. And
just in general, Team Kenya's performance here, how do you feel the team has come together and worked and moving forward to the next championship? The
team has been so disciplined because you see the focus that the athletes have and you see the positivity that the athletes have. That's something that drives the team. And when you wake up in the morning and then you see everybody's talking about winning and winning and winning, nobody's talking about, no, I think I'll come third, or maybe someone is talking about just getting the finals. You see, that mentality was not with this team. This team was so disciplined and they were so respectful to our officials. And that's something that a team has to have.
Okay. Thank you guys. That's it. One-on-one with Ferdinand Omanyala, the African record holder, the African champion. It's been a blast here in Mauritius, and I'll see you guys next week back in studio in Sporty Monday.
Brilliant job there by Mukami, of course, one-on-one interview with Africa's fastest man, Ferdinand Omanyala. Thanks so very much, Mukami. Looking forward to having you next week. But Arocho, summing up Team Kenya's performance, very, very majestic once again. Omanyala, of course, bagging gold in 100 meters. The first time, actually, Kenya is winning this title in more than 3 decades. How do you sum up this outing? Because we've topped the medal table, 10 gold, 5 silver, 8 bronze to bag 23. That's no mean feat. Of course, South Africa was second behind us with 9 gold, 13 silver, and 14 bronze to bag a medal haul of 36. But basically, Team Kenya's performance.
Well, I think it's just a reflection of what am I expecting at the Commonwealth Games coming up in Birmingham. I'm expecting a lot. I've been saying it on this show. I believe that other than the normal medals that we've been picking, I'm seeing, once again I'm saying it, that I'm seeing a medal in the short races. The fact that in the very first time that Kenya's picked a gold medal in the 4x1 continental assignment shows that Omanyala has breathed a new, a fresh kind of breath into our short distance performance. The only thing that I'm still not happy is the steeplechase. I think
we're losing our mojo.
Yes, we are losing. That has been our main event, and now we are losing it time and time again. I think we really need to readdress that and perhaps go back to our old books, what really we used to be doing, because the fact that we are losing it in the continental assignments for me is very bad signals, because if you cannot beat Africa, definitely you cannot do it in the Commonwealth, and ultimately even in the Olympics or in the World Championships you cannot perform well. Kudos to Team Kenya, and I believe that the sky is the limit.
Yeah, just holding it up there before Shitera comes, and you can see the graphics right up there on screen, how Team Kenya performed in this championship. And you can see, apart from Omanyala, of course, bagging gold in 100 meters, clocking 9.93 seconds. Of course, by this feat, he became the second Kenyan after Joseph Gikonyo attained a similar feat. Gikonyo actually won gold in both 100 meters and 200 meters. This was in Cairo in 1990. And also, this championship is the first time Kenya Kenya bagged goal in 4x100-meter relay, where, of course, Omanyala anchored that victory, sprinting to the finish line. Mike Makomba, Samuel Imeta, and Dan Kivaisi were actually part of that team alongside Omanyala that brought us the honors. Then going ahead, Caroline Nyaga, of course, clocking 32.12.61 for gold in 10,000 meters. Again, we've been very strong in this race. Most of the ladies beating Rachel Chebet and Meseret Gebret of Ethiopia. Then again in gold, apart from Omanyala, Winnie Chebet in 1,500 meters, Beatrice Chebet, 5,000 meters, 4x100, and of course Abel Kipsang in 1,500 meters, and Jarinta Mawea in 800 meters. Of course, more medals were won last night. And in the silver, we had Purity Chepkeroi, again in 1,500 meters women, and Nicholas Kiplagat in men's equivalent. Then the bronze medalist, we had Caroline Nyaga, 5,000 meters, Abraham Longosiwa, 10,000 meters, Geoffrey Kirwa, that's the steeplechase Arocho you're talking about. Yes. And Veronica Mutua, 400 meters, 4x4 mixed relay. Shitera, in a few weeks' time, you'll be boarding the plane to Birmingham, UK, for the Commonwealth. How best can we go? Can we build on this performance and probably top the world, if not Africa?
I think it has been a good curtain raiser, and I like it that we are having the competitions back to back. Remember the other day, Omanyala had another outing, not so good, but it gives you a benchmark on how to perform in the upcoming events. And as you can clearly see, Omanyala is confident even going out to the US in the World Championship to win a gold against Americans. You can clearly see that confidence from Arocho's colleague. And I believe that is the spirit that, in as much as we are low on one side, he has uplifted our spirits. Team Kenya in Mauritius has uplifted our spirits, and we have something to smile about. Probably we can borrow some leaf from athletics, and we keep on supporting them in all manner of ways possible, so as to make it at least to fly the Kenyan flag high. Again, thank the government, because such things cannot happen without the ministry's support. And if you can do something good from the little you've been given, probably you'll go a long way. Of course, we're expecting so much from the Commonwealth Games, so many golds. Omanyala can do it in 200 meters. He can try out 200 meters.
He says he needs some technical training, mostly in the bench.
Yeah, he can do it, yeah. The relays, we are seeing him pushing Team Kenya to some winning mentality. Of course, we can now bank on like 4 races from Omanyala, and of course try and build up. Probably the likes of Kemboi, they should come in now as coaches. Try and train the young talents that are coming up, make sure that they can pick from where they left. It's not a good thing when we hear that our mainstay, we are losing it out to some other competitors. We really need to up our game in that field. Let us involve people who have done that before. Brimin Kipruto, Ezekiel Kemboi. I think Athletics Kenya can use the experience to train our young talents.
We would have loved to go